Hi, in this episode of The Secret Sauce, I'm interviewing Jessie from Frontdesk. Frontdesk managed to successfully shift their master lease model in 2020, and they're now represented in 32 cities in the US, and they have 600 rentals, but they're aggressively looking to grow to 1,500 rentals, and these are urban apartments. So Jessie is full of knowledge around how to run an urban apartment property management company. They've built everything in terms of technology, all the operations. The only two things they outsource is channel management and laundry. So very well worth listening to this episode. I think you will really enjoy it. He's a great leader. So thank you, and see you on the other side. Hi, and welcome to this episode of The Secret Sauce. I am so excited to have Jessie from Frontdesk on the show. Frontdesk is a property management company in the US in no less than 32 cities. They have 600 properties is the latest number. Currently, they're number 47 on the top 50 of the vacation rental, largest property managers in the vacation rental in the world. So I'm so happy to have you here and to ask you all the questions around business strategy and marketing. Thanks so much for being here. And let's launch ourselves straight into it. No small talk. Please tell us briefly what you were doing before Frontdesk and about your current position at Frontdesk.
Yeah. That's great. I hate small talk too. First of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. It's an honor to be here, a huge fan. And you've had some great people here. So certainly humbled and honored to be here. Before Frontdesk, I was building enterprise building automation systems, working in travel tech. So starting in aerospace, doing connected cabins in private jets, then went to work in hotels doing IoT and smart thermostats and building guest room automation systems in major hotel chains across the country. So we were doing the keyless entry before it was cool this year in the hospitality world. So one of the first companies to do Alexa turn down the temperature with the smart thermostat systems, and so. Had a lot of fun working with a lot of smart engineers, smarter than myself on the technology, but building really cool products. And then a partner of mine, somebody who recently sold his company that I worked with in the past, went for a year-long travel across the world with his wife and came to really fall in love with the vacation rental experience. And so we thought between the real pain point that he experienced and the technology automation experience that I brought, we could kind of marry the two and bring the industry some really great technology.
That's great. So we're going to talk about technology later. I'm very curious if you built smart home devices for all your homes, but don't tell me now. So what is the Frontdesk brand for those that don't know it? What do you stand for, and who are your customers?
Yeah, so we, like many people in the space right now, are building a leading next generation hospitality brand. So for starters, we feel that the major brands, the Marriott's, Hilton's, Hyatt's, that we all have come to know and love over the past century, were built a century ago. And we feel that many billion-dollar brands in the hospitality space will be born in the coming decade, largely coming from the short-term rental space. So enter Frontdesk. So we are reinventing the way that today's consumers live, work, and travel. It's no doubt that the pandemic of 2020 had really shifted the way that people think about where they live, how they travel, and where they work. And it's sort of all blending together. This awful term called bleisure is really we need a better term for it, but it's what exists today. The bleisure market is heating up. People don't know whether they're staying with us to work or staying with us to live. So really, who we aim to serve are today's consumers, who are not just traveling 2 weeks a year, but maybe living a life of adventure while holding down a career from a remote destination across the country. Frontdesk aims to serve that next generation of travel consumer.
Great. So that means cities, urban apartments, as we would say.
Urban apartments. Yep. So our
Yes.
niche is urban apartments. We operate in the most urban apartments in the United States of any other operator, 150 different communities, and it gives us the most variety for our travelers. So what our brand cares a lot about is consistency, but also variety. People, of course, in the vacation rental space, care about authentic experiences and unique experiences, but they also want to be in control of where they stay, when they stay, how they get in. And so offering incredible variety, but still with the consistency of a well-recognized and reputable hospitality brand, to keep everything together is key to our consumers.
So let's talk about the brand. How do you make sure that there is consistency? Is there visual consistency between the apartments? How do you manage to do that? Or is there?
Subtle visual consistency, yeah. So people don't stay with us because they want to see the same. I got a yellow couch behind me in this virtual backdrop. They want to see splashes of elements that they come to know and love. Things like the bed, things like the couch. They want to know that it's consistent, whether they stay with us in Ames, Iowa, or Atlanta, Georgia, right? But people travel with us not to stay in our unit. They travel with us to go explore the city that we just happen to be where they sleep at night. So they want to soak in the authentic experience of that culture. Everything from the neighborhood that we're in, not the downtown central business districts, although we often are there, but also the off-beaten path, up-and-coming trendy neighborhoods with the really good sushi and good microbrews. And so what we aim to do is connect our consumers with a consistent experience that doesn't take where the Frontdesk brand doesn't take away from their trip. We want them to, above all, enjoy being where they're traveling to, and see us and our units as a safe space to kind of call home base to come back to at night.
So location is very important, I imagine, and so you do get a lot of repeat visitors. Then do people?
We do. Year over year, our repeat business is growing about 4x every year. So we've hosted over 200,000 guests over the past 4.5 years, and most of those guests, many of those guests, are coming back to repeat book with us. I want to touch on an earlier point you asked too about how do you maintain that consistency. The vertically integrated nature of our business model ensures that consistency. And so the design is not consistent, the apartments are not consistent, but the experience is consistent. Everything at Frontdesk, from the technology, we have our own in-house PMS that's proprietary and unique to our every stay, all the way to the housekeeping. We W2 hire all of our cleaners and city managers. So you're never going to walk into a Frontdesk unit that wasn't touched by a fully trained, fully screened, fully compliant type of housekeeping.
So you employ, you said you employ, how many people you employ?
We have over 180 very talented employees across the country.
Wow, congratulations. That's amazing. Okay, so you lease all those units? Is this something you can tell me? Or?
Not anymore.
Okay.
So I think one of your questions that I'll jump ahead to is what were one of your things that you would do differently, knowing now what you know that you wouldn't do in the past.
The biggest mistake I was going to ask.
The biggest mistake.
Thank you.
That's right. Yeah, the biggest mistake I would say was not pivoting away from the master lease model quick enough. It ended up working out for us. It was a very difficult year. We had to lay off about 16% of our staff, about 35 employees back in April. Very difficult business decisions we had to make to pivot. We ended up pivoting our inventory from master leases to asset light management agreements. And so that we fortunately were starting to do that pre-pandemic. Our first rev share units were signed back in January, February, and that was a big push for us, is to pivot our inventory even before the pandemic. We saw the writings on the wall with some of the WeWork IPO and the other failed master leasing companies laying off their employees, where we tried to get ahead of it. And you know, if I had a crystal ball, we would have started that process 6 months ago and made a much easier 2020. But here we are. We're fortunate and very grateful to be here and to be now a management platform and a management operator versus a master leasing company. I think the master leasing model is important to get your work name out there, to get to scale. It's an easy way to scale, especially if you don't have any proven track record with the property owners that you're partnering with. But leaning on it for too long, once you've established that reputation where you can show case studies why why the owner will get more in the long run through a rev share payout versus a master lease, and actually convince them of that. I think that's where businesses like ours, the urban operators, need to start thinking in terms of pivoting their models. You never know when the next Black Swan event is going to come, and it's important to build an anti-fragile business that can thrive in both downturns and upturns. We know travel is definitely not short of turbulence. So building a business model that is conducive to turbulence is core to sustainability.
Very good. I agree to that very much so. Same in the tech world, if I may add. It's good to be financially stable. So you talked about scaling. So you say it's going to be harder to scale. So how are you planning to scale?
Well, it's harder to scale without doing leases if you're starting out. For us, we're confident that we're already starting to turn back on the growth engine. We're preparing for, what many people are calling the great travel rebound of 2021. We're starting to see bookings just pour in for the summer. More and more good news is coming every day with the vaccine rollout and effectiveness, that we have a pretty positive outlook of the future of travel. So we've already started to rebound, a couple months ago. So for us, scaling looks like more cities, more units, more properties, but first, more talented employees. And so we're always hiring, and I'll give this as my shameless plug that we love hiring people from within the industry. And we have a variety of roles out there in the United States, especially remote roles. But we're 2021 in a lot of senses for Frontdesk is going to look a lot like 2019. We have 600 units today. We're planning to close out the year at 1,500 units. It's starting to look back to normal, which for us, normal means very aggressive growth. Despite being management agreements, we actually think that that's just a side effect of that's just a small part of our business. Overall, the growth is going to be very aggressive this year.
Love it, love it. So I'm going to have to move you up the top 50 by come October, because that's when I do the list. Looking forward to that. Tough competition out there. So we talked about scaling in the brand. Let's talk about technology, which is obviously one of my favorite topics. You said you built your own in-house PMS, so we know this now. What else have you built? Have you built all this smart home tech for your own units?
Yeah, I love talking about tech as well, Vanessa. So you gave me a good topic here. Tech has been in our DNA since day one. Every problem we see is an opportunity to automate. I think there's a quote that says, systemize the predictable so you can humanize the exceptional. And for us, that looks a lot like constantly learning and constantly improving our tech stack. And so the PMS is the core to that. We call it Frontdesk Flex, frontdeskflex.com. We are offering it for third-party property managers as well. But the core of what we do is the property management system. The bolt-ons, what makes us unique, are some of those bolt-ons. And so we within our PMS, we have a guest portals tool. We have revenue management and pricing tool. We constantly are testing against the competition out there and overperforming by 10 to 15%. Because we're so targeted on our specific geographies. These pricing and revenue management tools are trying to serve the broader population of thousands of countries and cities, whereas we only have 32 cities to target on. So revenue management, guest portals, data analytics and reporting tools, trust and safety is a big thing for us. So as you can imagine, being in apartment communities, we have a much different way of operating. We not only do we share communities with our neighbors, we share walls with our neighbors and common spaces with our neighbors. And these are mixed use communities. We're not taking out units in the entire building like some of our competitors. We're doing 4 units, 5 units on average per building. So we can provide that variety. So for us, being a good neighbor is literally one of our core values, but it's something that is key to the success of our business. If we aren't loved by our neighbors and seen as an asset to the apartment communities that we serve, then it's not going to be a long road for us in this industry, in the urban apartment space. And so trust and safety tech for us is just far more important than I think the average vacation rental, beach home type of tech platform. And so that involves fraud prevention, ID verification, criminal background screening to the same levels as these apartment communities and the multifamily apartment industry are required to perform on their tenants for long-term rental use. Even if it's a one-night stay, even if somebody's booking and getting their access code within an hour, we have to get that guest in and out of that reservation, within minutes, with full compliance and full assurance that it's not a bad actor. So noise monitoring, access control is a big one. Making sure, again, we're only providing the right codes to the right guests, and guest risk scoring as well. With over 200,000 guests, we've seen that 0.5% of our guests don't follow the rules, to put it nicely. So we take remediative action there and ensure that that those guests are never booking in our units again. And so everything related to trust and safety is important for us and really unique to our property management system compared to the average systems on the market. But the most important part of our tech stack is really that revenue management, channel distribution, and data analytics kind of tool set. So the combination of listing on the right channels and optimizing the right pricing and offering the right discounts on the right channels, and having a holistic view of how all of those different channels interact is really core to what allows us to overperform the market by 15 to 20% in the exact same type of properties. So that's the core part of our tech stack that we've built out.
Any third-party tools?
Well, Rentals United, of course. So one business we're not in is the channel management business, and don't know if we ever have an intention to get in the channel management business. Other than that, really we pride ourselves in vertically integrating just about every aspect of our business. We feel that end-to-end experience is just key for the overall guest experience. Our net promoter score is 72, highest in the industry as far as we're aware. And so to do that, we really need to keep control of every touch point that guest or that neighbor or property manager in the community interacts with. So channel management and laundry are really the only two pieces of our business that we outsource. We obviously don't own any of our properties, so I guess you could say real estate as well. But beyond that, we're taking just about everything else in that supply chain.
And so NPS is one of your most important KPIs?
It is. Yeah, we've been measuring ourselves on OTA ratings for long, and we've recently reconciled that so we can unify all the different scores we're getting from various channels anywhere somebody can review us. And so, yeah, we were proud when we ran the numbers the past 2 quarters. Our NPS has been 72. I think Sonder was 71. The hotel industry average is 41. So we're incredibly proud of that, and it's just a real testament to the very talented people on our team that just care deeply about the guest and their experience with us.
Congrats to them. Yes, absolutely. And so you touched on distribution very shortly, and we're very proud to be able to help you with this. But how do you choose your channels? How do you decide? Well, this is a channel that could be interesting for us.
Yeah, so I think like a lot of your past guests, less is more would be my answer here. We're not in the business of the long tail here with channels. Every channel just has so much nuance. It's really one of those type of life events where the more you know, the more you realize you don't know in terms of how to play on well on any channel. And so obviously the top we're focused on the top 5. So Airbnb, VRBO, Expedia, Booking.com. We're also getting more exposure on some of the traditional, media sites, Facebook, Instagram, Google, but also I would say the most promising channels are really more of the inbound channels, where some of the top hotel chains in the world have reached out to us and said that we love the guest experience you offer with your vertically integrated management platform. We'd love to list your inventory. So by within the next 6 months, we should have some exciting news in terms of two new more traditional hotel channels that we can't wait to report on.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Wonderful. So, your thoughts on the future? We've just been through a really tough year, but you talked about revenge travel. You're going to grow massively. Any other thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, it's you always feel like an idiot when you try to predict in these times ever since 2020. So at the risk of sounding like an idiot, it is fun to predict on the future. I am optimistic on the future of travel. I do believe that hospitality is in the middle of a major seismic shift between the work from home movement and the flock away from hotels and towards short-term rentals in the midst of the pandemic that will likely be sticky after. But also, Airbnb's rise, their IPO, their brand recognition, really propelling this industry forward, are all just incredible tailwinds for creating that space and that vacuum in the hospitality world for the next generation brands to rise up. And we don't think there's going to be one. We think there's going to be many. Think of all the hotel chains that were created in the last century. And so it's really an exciting time to be in travel. I will say that the cause for the most optimism that we have is not just the pent up demand. Obviously, there's a ton of pent up demand out there right now, and everybody's starting to look at their summer to get a once they get vaccinated and get back out in the world. But more importantly, what we think is this work from home shift is gonna we think it's far underestimated what kind of impact this is gonna have on travel. This could be the next biggest boom travel has ever seen in the past century. Just think of the ability to travel not just 2 weeks a year when you're on your vacation, at least in America, we tend to take short vacations throughout the year. So 2 weeks a year is what we plan on. Now you can travel 52 weeks a year. You're not tethered to your cubicle, and that just opens up opportunity for travel. So really, we see that we think there's going to be a massive convergence between how we live and how we travel, and companies like Daydream Apartments or some of these. I think Nido, back when they were going. Somebody else is going to pick up the throne on the short-term rental apartment communities, the ability to hop and travel like a nomad, and not have to pay for your apartment rent and your hotel stay, but it's actually all one budget in your personal finances. It is just, there's tons of opportunity for subscription-based travel like that. It gives us real cause for excitement. And we definitely need some excitement after the year we've been through, but I still think it's underestimated today how impactful work from home is going to be for the future of this industry.
Thank you. I love listening to you. Thank you for all these thoughts, and I agree. I agree on everything you just said. So wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your ideas on the future. So to finish this interview, which was most interesting, I knew it was going to be, I'd like to do a quick true false. And the idea is that I say a statement, and you then say true or false. And yeah, I'm collecting these from all my interviews, and then we're going to do we're going to see the percentages of people said true or false. There's no right or wrong answer. It's basically opinion based. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Vacation rentals will be the preferred accommodation option for the next 2 years.
False, but close.
Okay. We will not go back to strict cancellation policies.
Also false. There's a lot of people in that we.
Okay. You already gone back to strict cancellation policy yourself?
No, we never were strict. We were always
Okay.
flexible, but I'm sure there will be. I'm getting way too mechanical here with this. I'm sure there will be those going back to strict, not us.
Okay. Google will become the only OTA.
False.
Enterprise level revenue management will be a must for all business sizes to survive.
Depends on when. Eventually, probably, but in the near term, I think it's still ways out.
Okay.
I think it's going to be vital for being competitive, but for survival, that's a strong word. So I'll say false.
Okay, thank you. Short-term rental managers will need to also think like letting agents and offer short, mid, and long-term stays.
False.
Do you offer long-term stays? This is a question I would have liked to ask you, actually.
We do. We don't promote them. Our average stay length, even today in a COVID time, is about 3 to 4 days on average. So we still feel that it's up 44% year over year. So it's meaningful in terms of the increased length of stay for our bookings, but it's a completely different economics to do long-term versus short-term, and it takes just a much different business model. So while it's not for us, I'm sure there's room for other more niche players out there to offer that midterm stay. It's not a lucrative model from what we've seen.
Thanks for that. Size matters. Larger units will prevail in 2021, this year.
Larger square footage of the units or larger units in the portfolio?
Bedroom numbers. So basically, being able to go with your family, with an extended family, as opposed to smaller units.
Yes, true.
Yes, true. Corporate travel will never come back to previous levels.
True, but I don't think it's gone away forever.
No, but it won't come back to previous levels. Okay. And in 2021, we will cheers with a cocktail at a vacation rental event.
I sure hope so, Vanessa. I
Me
sure
too.
hope so.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Are you planning to go to any of the events? There's a VRMA said they're going to do it.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sort of planning 3 months at a time here this year.
Yes,
but I would like to be at the VRMA in North America if I can.
Yes, great. Well, if you are, we will definitely cheers. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for this, Jesse. It was most interesting. And yeah, see you soon.
Thank you, Vanessa. It was a pleasure to be here. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Cheers.